Hi, my name is Patience. I'm a Zimbabwean based in Lagos and I've been staying here for 5 years. Love motivated me. Love motivated me. And that's why I'm here and that's why I've stayed for 5 years. Love. Since around 2000, early 2000, 2001, Nollywood movies were introduced to Zimbabwean entertainment. We're talking about Super Story. We are talking about Toyin Tomato. Yes, we are talking about Suicide Mission. There was one by Genevieve. Those movies where she turned into a snake, like a cobra on the bed. So, as our mothers, my mom, my aunties, they used to bond over Nollywood movies. You know, they could relate, and it was still new. A lot was happening. So you would find that to a certain extent, Nollywood kind of had an influence and culturally, you know, like in-law comparisons, how they were portrayed in the movies. So being raised on movies like that, being raised on productions like that, in my head, I already had a picture of what Lagos looked like. For us, how it was portrayed, Lagos was like the promised land. Lagos was like the greenest pastures. People would leave their villages in those old bands, and in Ghana must go. I only came to realize that they are called Ghana must go. In my country, they are called chalan bags. Ghana must go. They'll carry it on their head. They'll come to Lagos. They'll hustle. Then they'll go back to the village and everything. And you know, yeah, that really raised us. So I grew up with the perception of how Lagos is supposed to be, or how Lagos was. Years later, if I say 2000, that would be like 19, 20 years later, I found myself in Lagos. And yeah, the hustling spirit is very much alive. The hustling spirit is very much alive. The food is the same food that we used to see. That I see that if I see a certain food, I'm like, oh, I remember it from the movie. Oh, they used to eat this. Then when I see, what else do I see? Bikes. In my country, bikes are not used. Motorcycles are not used for commercial. Yeah, they're just like personal. You go to work, you just move from one point A to point B, and getting on a bike. That was one thing I wanted to do. I also want to get on the yellow taxis. I want to do that for myself. Pure water as well. Yes, I wanted to do that. That was the perception I had. And because our movies, they were from back then, buildings, I got to see those when I was driving, coming to the island. Then, of course, the flamboyant, the flashy lives, and everything. And when I talk to my family back home, they are now watching franchises like the Real Housewives of Lagos. They see the flamboyant lifestyle, they see the fashion sense. By the way, Nigeria, I feel like Nigeria's fashion sense is top notch, top tier, and they like that. You also find that Lagos lifestyle has influenced other aspects in smaller countries, the way people dress and the way people do their weddings. Yes, the Lagos lifestyle. So that I'm glad I'm living that perception I had years ago. And I know my mom, wherever she is, may I so rest in peace, she's living vicariously through me because she loved Patience Osoko. It was a big decision for me. The time that I moved here, I was going through some personal stuff. I'd lost a closest family member. So moving here, I felt like I was also leaving his memories where I was. But for the sake of growth, for the sake of love, I moved here and leaving my family, leaving my culture, coming to a different territory, a brand new territory. I had to leave a lot of things back home. But yes, I'm here now, and 5 years is not child's play. That means I've been enjoying my stay here in Lagos. I have a lot, actually. I have a lot. But I think for me, the biggest culture shock I experienced here was police. So where I come from, our police officers, they don't carry guns around. And coming here and seeing guns, turn left, you see guns, you see policemen with guns, that really scared me. That really scared me. And I think
it's the biggest culture shock amongst other things. Seeing people carrying guns in the streets, amongst civilians, amongst kids. I think for me that was it. Another thing is in Lagos, the population just in Lagos alone is over 21 million. And Zimbabwe's population as of 2022 was about 15.2 million people. So coming from a country that is smaller than Lagos, and like we are not as much in one place as compared to Lagos, it really sort of like gives us a feeling of, oh, maybe I'm being swallowed, or maybe I'm being lost, or like, well, even if I try to show myself, will I be visible? Because there is a lot of people in Lagos as compared to my country. So that really as well, when I came here, I was like, wow, okay, we are a lot of people here. So I think that's that. But again, given my personal experience, I've lived in India, the second most populous country in the world. That was okay for me because I knew, like, okay, fine, these are Indians, they have their own cultures and everything, own different race from my own. But also coming here and seeing my fellow melanated people, I felt home despite having that sense of overwhelming, like I'm being overwhelmed because there are a lot of people. I also belonged amongst the chaos. I blended in as well. So I also became one with the people here in Lagos. This one is my personal favorite because I had to understand that people here, most people here, their voices are high pitched. So where we come from, we don't, when we are having like a cordial, friendly conversation, you don't like raise your voice. It's against our cultural norms that you are not supposed to raise your voice if someone is talking to you. So I used to get maybe offended, for lack of a better word, like I'm talking to someone and they raise their voice. I'll be like, oh, they're yelling at me. They're yelling at me. Or did I do anything wrong? I'll just find myself apologizing. And they'll be like, no, it's not like you did anything wrong. We're just talking. So I'll be like, okay, but why are you yelling though? So yeah, the high pitched voices for me is another thing that I had to understand, coming from a culture that does not allow you to like speak in a high pitched voice. So yeah, that's that. The yelling part.
Another culture shock is people eat snails here. Snails. I remember the first time I saw snails, I was like, no, I can't eat that. But then they were like, try. So I tried. And that crunchiness, I was hooked on the first bite. Now I had to tell my auntie and say, I ate snail. My auntie shouted. She was like, how can you eat a snail? Who eats snail? But I feel like for each country there is that particular food that when you eat it and you tell your neighbors, like from other countries, and say, we eat this in my country, they will give you bombastic side eye. I had the opportunity to go to Okhuevbie. They have like a market where they sell meat and everything. I saw them slaughter a snake, a python. I said, what? Yes, they eat pythons. I saw that. I even took a Snapchat video to send it to my auntie. They eat pythons, they eat snails. Okay, in my country, I think two foods that if I tell people that I eat, we eat, they will like, we eat mice.
Like rats.
Yes, there are certain people that eat mice. Mice and rats are different. I need to plead their case. Rats are the ones inside. Rats are the ones inside.
Have you eaten it? Have you eaten it? No, this is a safe place.
Of course.
Oh my god.
My dad used to like.
But I know they eat like bush rats in Lagos.
We don't have those bush rats in my country. Yes, so we eat their young ones. Yes, we eat that. Then there are worms that it's only recent that I realized that those worms turn into butterflies. Yes, we eat them as well.
Those fat one.
Like they're just like small, not really fat. I'm a mom of one. My baby's 3 years old. He's my everything. literally my everything. I hold an honors degree in hotel management, travel and tourism from India, from a university in India. I am a stay-at-home mom, and the reason why I chose to stay at home was to just raise my son and to also work from home, because I had to find a balance between raising my son and also having a source of income. So as a stay-at-home mom, I'm also a homeschooling mom. Yes, and the reason why I chose homeschooling for my baby is because I was homeschooled to a certain level, and I saw the advantages that brought into my life. I never attended nursery, kindergarten. I only started from first grade, and by the time I started school, I was like 2 years ahead. So my mom used to teach me at home, and that's the exact same thing I want for my son. By the time he starts school, primary school, I want him to be ahead. So that's why I chose being a stay-at-home mom, and I feel it also gave me an opportunity to nurture his strengths and also build his weaknesses along the way, education-wise. So I started posting videos on my WhatsApp, I started posting videos on TikTok, and I started getting views and questions on homeschooling. And I have a few parents that showed interest, like, we like how you teach your baby, and we like how much he knows for his age. He knows a lot, and we would like you to take our kids as well and just apply the same methods. So that's how I started my my business. I would call it a niche, I'll call it a business, yes, of being a private tutor. And I tutor kids from between 1 year, 10 months up to primary 2 level, and right now I have about 6-7 kids that come from Monday, Tuesday. I don't work on Wednesdays, Thursday and Friday for like 2 hours every day. So this actually has helped me individually, because I'm growing. Dealing with kids is not easy, but I'm working on my patience. I'm working on being the best person that can teach these babies. And also, like, I have to learn how to handle kids, because parents trust me with their children. And apart from that, education wise, I'm also learning as I'm going, and that is like teaching them. I also learn, as well as I've also gathered a few certificates that have to do with homeschooling, that have to do with ways of homeschooling, that also have to do with a lot of different things, so that I can tutor these kids in my best capacity. So that is what I do as a stay-at-home mom. Lagos is melting pot. There are different cultures here. There are different cultures, different people from different walks of lives. It's not just like, you also find other foreign nationals here. So every day is a learning experience for you. You get to learn certain things about certain cultures. So at the end of the day, as an individual, I've learned a lot. I've learned different amazing facts. I have learned how people live amongst each other. That gives me an opportunity that when I leave, let's say I leave Nigeria right now, I go to other places, I will have knowledge, right? And I'll also be able to make other people feel at home. If also reversed, if a Nigerian national comes to my country, as long as they meet me, they'll be like, I know everything. So I'll also be giving them a piece of their culture, because I carry that culture with me as well. Day by day, I get to absorb a lot of information. I get to learn how to go about it. Nigeria has actually made me a better mother, actually. The way they carry motherhood in this country is really different from how we carry motherhood in our country. There are certain practices that you're taught, taking care of your little one, that I grew up with kids as well in my country, but I never really was exposed to such information. And for me, I feel that's my biggest, greatest takeaway. And also making Nigerian food with little pepper. I miss my family. Yeah, I miss my family, but thank God to technology, we talk every now and then, but I miss my family. And I also miss just having a going for a day without using English. I miss speaking in my mother tongue. Yeah, I miss speaking in my mother tongue. I speak Shona, and yeah, I think those are the main two things that I miss. And food. So I miss my family, I miss speaking in Shona, and I miss food.
Can you tell us something in Shona?
Okay, ndodakutenda vagari vemuLagos nekunditambira semwana wavo. Handina chekuchema, ndakatambirwa semwana. Kunyangwe ndisiriwe muno ndiri weZimbabwe, ndakatambirwa semwana. Kwese kwandinoenda ndinobatwa samambo, kadzi. Saka ndoda kutenda vagari vemuNigeria nevagari vemuLagos nekuti ndiri kufara kuve pano. I would like to thank everyone in Lagos for being a part of my family. I would like to thank everyone for welcoming me with open hands, for making me feel at home, for treating me like the queen that I am, because I am Zimbabwean, and everyone here is treated nicely and is treated with such big love, and I'm really grateful and I'm blessed to be a part of the Lagosian community.
Moving here from Harare to Lagos, nothing much really, but I think in terms of cuisine, yeah, cuisine was my biggest challenge adapting, because Lagosians, Nigerians eat a lot of pepper, and Zimbabweans, we don't eat pepper at all. Actually, we grow up being told that pepper, chili is not good for you. So that really stuck. Yeah, that really stuck with us. So growing up, not eating chili, then coming to a country where most of the meals have chili was really one of the biggest challenges I faced. But yeah, I think I did well adapting, because I can eat tiny, just little bit, not much, just little bit. But yes, I think this applies to everyone, right? Even Lagosians, even Nigerians face traffic. I am an outgoing person. I like being outside, but the traffic in this place, especially in Lagos, is really, really wild. And that really sort of had me change from being an outgoing person to being inside most of the time. So that aspect of coming from being an outgoing person to being an indoors person really, really affects you in not so good ways. But I think I've adapted as well. So yeah, I wouldn't call it discrimination per se, but I would rather call it appreciation. If there is one thing I really, really appreciate and adore about Nigerians, is how they make you feel at home. You cannot come in Nigeria, tell them that you're not Nigerian, and leave that conversation feeling like, maybe I'm not welcome. They will definitely make sure you feel at home. Here as a guest, I'm literally queen. They treat me like a queen wherever I go. The moment I speak, they'll be like, oh, I could tell you're not from Nigeria. Oh, so how is it? Which country are you from? So I usually like to play a game like, can you guess where I'm from? And they'll say, oh, maybe Kenya. And I'll always laugh, because I'm from the southern part of Africa and Kenya is in the eastern part. The way we speak is different, but I think you have to be Zimbabwean to actually tell that, no, this is not a Zimbabwean accent. So coming here, honestly, I've felt nothing but feel at home. I'm highly appreciated here. You come here, and conversations will lead to economy, will lead to politics. Of course, I'm Robert Mugabe's baby, as they like to put it. And Robert Mugabe was appreciated in this country, was talked about a lot in this country. So yeah, they usually make that connection. So draws like a lot of similarities. Family orientation. Nigerians are family oriented, very respectful, very friendly, and they are taught to treat everyone despite blood, despite anything. They are taught to interact. They are taught to treat each other with respect, and that's the same thing with my country. Everyone is to be treated with respect, and more so biased towards the visitors. We treat visitors with much more respect. That's one thing that I have that I have experienced right here in Lagos. People really treat me with so much affection, with so much love, appreciation. They ask me questions, and I think that family orientation is what I can draw like a stark similarity
What about
with back home.
differences?
This one, I feel like life in Lagos is very fast. It's a fast-paced life. Lagos is a fast-paced life. You you have to be on your feet. You have to be on your feet. You have to be rushing somewhere. It's a fast-paced life. And in Zimbabwe, we are kind of chilled. We are like we are a bit laid back. We are not as hustler as
The hustle spirit.
the hustle spirit is not. It's there, but in comparison, Lagos takes the cup. Everyone is hustling, everyone is looking for where to get the next meal, everyone is just trying to make ends meet, and they are very hardworking as well. And also my Zimbabwean people are very hardworking, but the hustle here, it's a fast-paced city. I think that's it.
So that's like my favorite question. Other states that I visited, I have visited Edo State and Benin City. That's where my love is from. That's where he's from. So I visited there more than like 3 times, and for me, Benin is there's a certain of it's to me, I see it like a historical place. The buildings, it's like it was frozen in time, right? It's like frozen in time, and I love how people are so passionate about their history there. They talk about the Oba, they talk about the bats flying from the palace. They have a very rich historical background. I've also traveled to Delta State, Wari, and they have one of the best dishes I've eaten in Nigeria. Banga and fishnets. Right, banga and starch.
Yeah.
Yes, I hear it's the home for banga and like
yes.
banga soup. And I've traveled to Okhuevbie, that's Uyo, right?
Yeah.
And personally, I feel if I'm to choose a state that I would live in, it would be Uyo, Okhuevbie, because Okhuevbie is very calm. It's clean. It's green. They are not much. There are fewer people. There are lesser people as compared to Lagos, and it gives the Zimbabwean vibe. I think Uyo gives the Zimbabwean vibe. You go there. When I landed there the first time, I felt like I was in Zimbabwe. So Okhuevbie has my heart. Okhuevbie has my heart. I've been to Abuja, right? And it's Abuja State. It's FCT, right?
Yeah. It's a state also.
Abuja. I've been to Abuja. I loved Abuja. Abuja gives me Harare vibes, but a faster version of Harare lifestyle. So I really enjoyed my stay in Abuja, and I plan on visiting other states as well as time goes on. But so far, these are the states I've visited. I have many, actually. I have a lot of, but the one that stands out for me is during the NSAS period. I was due to deliver my baby boy on the 22nd, and the tragedy that happened where many people lost their lives, and they're so rest in peace. Many people that lost their lives, that happened on the 20th. So living on the other side, my hospital is on the mainland, so I had to travel from Chevron side to that place. And considering what was going on, and considering I was away from home, I went through pregnancy alone, and that was also the COVID period, so I could not have family come over. And this was my first child. I was really in a distressful state, because a lot was happening at the same time, and I was also dealing with the first experience ever, and there was a lot going on. But I'm grateful enough that we managed to drive from Chevron side to the mainland to my hospital. We got there on time. I was attended to very promptly, although they had to close down the hospital for only emergencies. So they told me that they were only admitting people who were already in active labor. And I just told them that I could not explain. So because once again, as a foreigner, you're treated like royalty here. They admitted me and they said, no, it's okay, you can stay, we'll see how it goes. So yes, my baby came on the 22nd, and I had the perfect delivery story. The hospital is really amazing. They took care of me as well as the other mothers that were there. And yeah, but as I was in active labor, because of the protests that were going on and the police force trying to disperse, there were a lot of gunshots, and I've never had a gunshot in my life. So that was my first time hearing gunshots, and I was also in active labor. So it was a lot of emotions to deal with, to process with, but yes, I came out victorious. I came out with my babe, with my bouncing baby boy. There's actually a small community of Zimbabweans. There are other Zimbabwean females here that are also married to Nigerian men, and they also stay in Lagos. So we have like a small community of about 3 or 4. And I also have friends from South Africa. We also share the same culture and food. Food keeps me rooted. Food keeps me rooted.
I think you mentioned finding your food, how hard it is here in Lagos. Is it hard to find the ingredients and all?
Yes.
Can you share a bit of that?
Okay, so because of a small community, I can give you an example.
Okay.
If you come to Zimbabwe, we have about 7,000 Nigerians living in Zimbabwe right now, and that means you will find a Nigerian community. You will have access to egusi, you have access to all the native ingredients needed to make Nigerian cuisine. But on the other hand, it's quite different because we're a small community here. We don't have a market where we can say we're going to buy Zimbabwean food. So we end up improvising. Our staple food is sadza. Sadza is our own version of swallow, and we only use corn flour. And the way the texture of the corn flour is not smooth, it has to be between, gritty, a bit. Not much like gari, but between semo and gari, the middle. So that's our version, and we don't have it here in Nigeria. We also have a version of leaves. We have pumpkin leaf. The pumpkin leaf that that Lagos has and other states is different from the leaf that we use. But we always get by improvising. So we use semo instead of our sadza flour. We can use kale, we can use spinach. The rest really it's the same. We also have fruits. Now let me give you a fun fact. Agbalumo, sherry.
Yes.
In Zimbabwe, we have the same fruit. And I mean same fruit. We call it majanje.
Wow.
Yes, we have the same fruit. But I do not know what happened. I think they are cousins, or they're just like twins that are not identical. But because they look the same, but they are also different. Our own has the same seeds inside, has the same color inside, same texture, same shape, same size, but ours is sweet. You can never bite into one of our own and have that bitey. Yes, never. Even when it's not ripe, it's still sweet.
Wow.
Then we have sherry. Sherry will give you a few slaps before you get along. So yeah, I think that's the similarities. We do have sweet potato, Irish potato, beef, meat, everything else. It's just our staple that is here, that we cannot find easily unless you have to go to the market, buy your corn, of which in Lagos here the markets have gone, especially Aja market because it's close by. You cannot get white corn, and as we use only white corn, so that's one bit of a challenge, but we found a way around that. Lagos is a very eventful place, like a very eventful place. So I think what stands out for me the most when I was like, wow, this is the craziest experience. My first time in Lagos, I traveled from Zambia. I was based in Zambia. So from Zambia to Lagos, inclusive of the time we went, like we stayed in Kenya, like we had to change flights in Kenya. Our layover. It's about 8 hours at most. So Lusaka, Nairobi, Lagos. Okay. So I arrived, our flight landed at 2:10 in the afternoon, and immigration, customs, everything, we passed through, and I left the airport at exactly 5 minutes to 2. We left the airport around 2:15. International airport to Aja. We got to Aja 1 a.m.
That's how many hours? Longer than the flight.
Longer than the flight. Maybe, just maybe, it was a dirty December period. It was dirty December period, and everyone was out. We were in traffic for more than 12 hours. And I was like, I have traveled from Harare, that's our capital city in Zimbabwe, to Lusaka, capital city in Zambia. 2 countries, and the journey is 9 hours by bus. I've traveled from Lusaka, capital city of Zambia, to Lilongwe, capital city of Malawi, by bus. It's about 11 hours. Now, that was an awakening.
This
is Lagos, the Lagos that we see in the movies. The Lagos that we see in the movies. As someone who is willing to leave their home country and move to a different country, one of their main concerns is, will I be accepted? Will I be able to blend in with the culture? Will I feel at home? I think despite countries that you're willing to travel to, but if you are willing to travel to Nigeria, I can tell you that you will feel at home. You will be a part of a bigger family. You will be treated, you'll be able to blend in. The only advice I can tell you is bring food from Zimbabwe. Bring your snacks, bring your favorite food from Zimbabwe. Otherwise, everything else regarding your welfare, you're sorted. You are really sorted. Yeah, it's a second home. It will be a second home for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we have